According to an article published in 2009 in the Dartmouth Undergraduate Journal of Science, one of your favourites I suspect, at Dartmouth University, this is a quote, altruism promotes deeper positive social integration, distraction from self-preoccupation, enhanced meaning and purpose, a more active lifestyle, and the presence of positive emotions such as kindness that displace harmful negative emotional states. Thus, it's entirely possible to assert that altruism enhances mental and physical health. An interesting survey that, which actually bears out some of the points in the 9 Freedoms made in 1961. And let us now listen to the extract from the 3rd freedom, service.
If you would be free from the materialistic prison cunningly devised to enslave you, you would serve. If you would be detached from your own petty worries, you would serve. If you would enjoy a better health, you would serve. If you would prepare yourselves for the new world, you would serve.
Service is the way. Service is the path to enlightenment. Without it, we won't find full enlightenment. And this is where I would part company with some teachers, and where the Aetheric Society would part company with some teachers on enlightenment. Even some very well-known and leading speakers in the spiritual movement who do not include service and I'm not saying that everything that they say is wrong, or that they haven't experienced states of oneness and states of peace, not that at all. But I feel, and it's clear really, that they're setting their standards a little bit low, let's put it that way. What they would regard as enlightenment is not full enlightenment, some of these teachers. I don't want to name anyone, far from it. I only say this because this is out there and people may have come across it. And by doing that, they really get stuck where they are. And some of them will even say, do not have goals. Do not have a goal of enlightenment. It's all here now. You know, there is a thing in some parts of the mind, body, spirit movement, some parts of the New Age movement. You know, it is easy. Look, over this weekend, you can channel any ascended master of your choice. You can gain enlightenment quite easily. And it just isn't true. It's true you can gain certain things, but not full enlightenment. Without service, you aren't going to, any of us are not able, in this day and age, to achieve full enlightenment. As a matter of fact, and I remember that Dr. King was on Holston Down, where we go, where you're all welcome to join us, and a yogi came, which was great, and he was very welcome. It was welcome that this yogi in flowing robes and long hair came on our pilgrimage. And I remember him speaking to Dr. King. I remember him saying to Dr. King, I've been to the Godhead. And I remember Dr. King saying to him, did you take your hat off? But putting that aside, it was a proper conversation where Dr. King basically was saying to him, look, you know, you can gain enlightenment, you can realize the oneness of all things, but then the only logical thing to do once you realize that is to serve anyway, because you then realize you're interconnected to all life anyway. And service is the thing. According to Mars 76, it's the greatest yoga, the greatest religion, the greatest action, the greatest path. And the best way to do it is through spiritual service, because we live in this sea of spiritual energy, and spiritual change is permanent change. Just referring back a moment to some of the psychologists, you know, who hit upon these unconscious fears, and they hit upon the unconscious mind and produce some useful things. I mean, Jung, for example, was you know, very close to spiritual concepts with synchronicity and the collective unconscious, but they didn't hit on the big aspect of mind, which was superconsciousness, enough. And they talk, you know, you hear about emotional suppression, sexual suppression, mental suppression. You don't hear about soul suppression, which is the most damaging kind of suppression there is to the human being. It needs expression, and its pinnacle of expression is service, and especially spiritual service, because this spiritual energy crisis which exists, if it's solved, they're all solved. All the other crises are solved. People change. There won't be, as we've already heard, there won't be poverty if people don't want others to be poor. If they're sitting there in their yacht bemoaning the fact they haven't got a jet, then, you know, that isn't going to progress things. But if they have love, if they serve, if spiritual energy fills the world and people accept it, they will want to share. They will want peace. They won't want to fight, no matter what the religion or the race or the tradition. And in the Aetherius Society, I may name three things that we do of very powerful service. One, we cooperate with spacecraft, satellite number 3, in spiritual pushes, which are times where energy is potentized, where actions are potentized 3,000 times, and more spiritual energy than ever before, at other times rather, can go out to the world. That's one thing we do. Another thing we do is we go up certain holy mountains where spiritual energy is more readily accessible, and we send it out to the world. And do please, you're all invited to join us. We're going to Holston Down in North Devon at the end of July. We have all the details. We're going to France. If you can get to France and join us in August, and Switzerland. We go to these mountains, we go every year around the world. We're not the only people, I want to stress this, sending out spiritual energy. Far from it. Far from it. There are many initiatives, and great initiatives in the world, which are going on. But this is what we do, because those places are charged with spiritual power by cosmic beings, including some of them by Mars Sector 6. And the third thing I'll name is Operation Prayer Power. And that's where we store energy, and I think this is the one thing that the reviewer I named earlier had seen, and slightly, in rather a warped way, in a TV programme, it slightly put him off, which he admitted he was wrong, which is very good of him, I think. But we store energy in a container, a battery. We do it here in this hall, we do it in various places around the world. Up the road in Barnsley we do it. That's just Barnsley is just beyond Chelsea, somewhere up there, north. No, but we do it there, and we have two very prominent Barnsley people here with us, Peter and Trish Simmons. We do it in Michigan, we do it in Auckland in New Zealand, we do it in Los Angeles, and we store this energy and then we send it out at certain times in cooperation with beings from other planets. And it's focused, it's concentrated, it has stopped a war, it has reduced disease waves, it is targeted energy sent to particular conditions. That's very powerful and extremely balanced form of service. In a way, it's like healing, which I'm sure many of you have experienced, on a global scale and a targeted scale. So service is the path, and it's the path to enlightenment, which brings me very neatly to the fourth freedom.